Welcome to another edition of Warriors Weekly. I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Knock. We're here to bring you scores, stats, and previews of the upcoming athletic events at WLC. First, let's go to Adam Heinzen for the latest results around WLC.
The Warriors volleyball team punched their ticket to the 8-team Northern Athletics Conference tournament last Tuesday by defeating Concordia University Chicago 3-1 at the Recreation Complex. On Saturday, the Warriors traveled to Mequon to take on first place Concordia University Wisconsin. The Warriors fell in that match 3-2, falling in set 5 16-14. WLC will have 3 matches left this week before beginning Northern Athletics Conference tournament play next week for the right to go to the NCAA tournament. The Warriors men's soccer team had a pair of matches last week. First on Wednesday at Aurora University, tied 1-1 late in the second half. The second place Spartans scored 6 goals over the final 20 minutes of action to defeat the Warriors 7-1 at Vago Field. On Saturday, Wisconsin Lutheran honored its 3 seniors, Chris Lorig, Jake Parno, and Cameron Teskey, on Senior Day at Warrior Field against Concordia University, Wisconsin. The Falcons netted an early first-half goal, and that proved to be the only goal of the game as the Falcons defeated the Warriors 1-0. The Warriors have 1 match remaining on Tuesday against Concordia Chicago in River Forest, Illinois, before they round out their season. Let's send it back to Knock and Alyssa in the studio.
Thanks, Adam. WLC Women's Soccer wrapped up its 2010 season this past week with a pair of matches. On Tuesday, the Warriors fell 3-0 at Benedictine University before hosting Concordia University, Wisconsin Saturday for Senior Day. 1-0 for 70 minutes of the match, but the visiting Falcons scored 3 times during that span to spoil the Warriors' upset bid for a 3-1 final score.
WLC honored its only senior, Katie Sloan, at the match. Sloan finished her career at WLC with over 800 saves in the net. I had a chance to kick it around with women's soccer head coach Ryan Herman and senior goalkeeper Katie Sloan to talk about their season.
Katie, as the only senior on this year's team, how have you utilized your leadership role?
Well, it was interesting coming in and knowing that I'd be the only senior and knowing that we only had a few players coming back this season. I think the biggest thing is trying to get the new girls acquainted with the program and to get them up to the level of play that you really need to have in college soccer. Since I've been here for 4 years, I have a little bit more experience in that area, even if I don't have as much experience in the sport itself. So having that extra experience with there, I think that helps a lot over the season, and I think we've developed into a pretty good unit.
What's going through your mind when it's just you and the opposing offensive player trying to score?
This isn't my favorite of all times. However, when there's someone that's coming at me one-on-one, this is kind of either my shot to make a really huge save, or if they make it, it's almost kind of expected. It's a really high percentage shot, or it should be, if you have a good player coming onto you with a one-on-one. But mostly I'm waiting for them to screw up. I know that I try to cut the angles as a keeper and to figure out where my positioning is on the field at the time. But once they screw up, once they take that little bit of a bad touch, that's my opportunity to go out there and get it. So just do the best we can and try to make a good save.
How important is communication between you and the rest of the teammates on the field?
I think it is absolutely important. I talk all game long. You can usually hear me even if the ball is across the field and all the way at the other end when I'm not even involved in the play. Sometimes I probably talk too much. However, I think it's important. It's if another person, another voice telling you that you have a man coming on or if you have space to turn. It's really important, especially in the game of soccer, when you have to work as a team because it is not a solo sport. You cannot do this with just one player. You need your whole team.
Coach Herman, how has Katie progressed as a 4-year starter for the program?
I didn't have the benefit of coaching Katie her freshman year. I came in her sophomore year. She was really rough around the edges. She had very little to no keeper training before she came to WLC and started as our keeper. So going from that to where she is now, to where, like she was speaking of before, in a 1v1 situation where it's a chance for her to make big saves, and her being able to do that now is a huge, huge climb in her skill. Coming with a lot of natural talents and then being able to use that to refine them and get very skilled in the technical areas as a goalkeeper is great. So coming from where she started to where she is now is a great thing for our team and for the program. Someone's got big shoes to fill once she's gone.
You've had a very young team this season. How have you felt they have improved over the course of the year?
With a young team, inexperience shows. So from the start, when you can see that inexperience and the way things go with the team and developing our formations and how we attack out or how we defend in the back. Going from that and it being very apparent that you're inexperienced to getting to where we are now, where it's much more organized, we're much more cohesive as a whole unit. We're able to link players up a lot better and move the ball a lot better throughout the field with less touches and in a much smoother process. Being able to do that from the beginning to now in a very short time, with the soccer season being so short, is a huge change from the beginning to where it is now, and it's great. Great for the team and program as well in that aspect, from us getting to from that beginning point to now.
Thank you for your time. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
The Warriors football team improved to a 5-2 overall and a 3-1 in the NAC Saturday with a 19-0 homecoming shutout victory over Rockford College at Robbie Stadium. WLC held its opponent to under 100 yards of total offense for the second straight game. Now let's go to Scott Warris and Dan Barutha for a recap of the Warriors homecoming game.
Alyssa, thanks. Warriors win it by a final of 19-0. Dan Barutha, I'm Scott Warris, and Dan, a ball game that sees the Warriors pitch a shutout for the first time since their first ever game against these Rockford College Regents. And really, though the score in football terms, 19 points, is a pretty close margin, this outcome was never in doubt. Warriors controlled it from the get-go, just they had that feel from the kickoff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about an offense for Rockford College that was really deficient. They ran a multitude of stuff today. Certainly didn't have an identity, didn't know what they wanted to run, and that really played into the hands of the Warriors defense. A lot of blitz packages. Defensive coordinator Ben Murphy brought at Rockford College, and they just inept to move the ball.
The story on defense, two players really. Kaylin Gaines for the second straight game gets 3 sacks, now 9.5 on the season to lead the conference, and Jason Kramer, who returned an interception 26 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, Jason Kramer did a great job in the defensive secondary, had himself quite a few tackles as well, in addition to that interception return for a touchdown. But I think the bigger story is Kaylin Gaines, and you brought it up just now with the way he played. The front four for Wisconsin Lutheran College's defense was absolutely solid today. Tried running the ball, did Rockford consistently, and that put a lot of pressure on that front four, but Kaylin Gaines was able to get off of single and double teams all day, made a lot of plays, and when Rockford College tried rolling their quarterback out, KG was right there and had 3 sacks today to his credit.
So for the Warrior offense, you take that interception off the board, the Warrior offense puts up 13 points, but that's a little bit misleading because they had a couple of drops, a couple of missed opportunities. It could have easily been 38-0.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about Zach Shaw was 11 for 26 passing, a little over 100 yards. He had Josh Stodola on a touchdown grab on a nice naked bootleg down in the first quarter in the north end zone, but certainly missed opportunities, but the Warriors offense did enough. It was all set up by the run, but they did enough in the passing game to be able to put more points on the board than Rockford.
So the Warriors stay undefeated at home, by the way. That's something we haven't talked about a lot on the broadcasts. Next broadcast next Saturday as the Warriors travel to Concordia, Wisconsin to take on the Falcons. It's the annual Lutheran Bowl. The Warriors have never beaten Concordia. Dan, thanks for your time. We'll do this again, I think, sometime.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Knox got more post-game wrap-up. Take it away, bud.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with junior cornerback Tom Bodner and sophomore safety Jason Kramer. First with you, Tom. Last week you were given the responsibility of defending Lakeland's #1 receiving threat, Roberto Flores. You had a good game last week, a couple of pass breakups, didn't allow anything deep. Today again against Rockford, you had a couple of pass breakups, nothing deep, and you got an interception. How were you guys able to do that the last couple of games?
Coaches put us in great position during practice. Our practices were pretty high intensity the last 2 weeks. Carry over the game. Coaches put a challenge out there. They challenged the secondary to lock up the receivers and just try to step up to the challenge.
Your teammate Kaylin Gaines had another game of 3 sacks. Having him at the defensive end position, how does that affect your job and you as a defensive back?
It makes our job a lot easier. Anytime we only got to lock down the receivers for 2 seconds compared to 5, it's a huge difference. Anytime our D-line and KG, linebackers, everyone's doing their job, it just takes off a lot of weight on the secondary shoulders.
Okay. Jason, today you had 6 tackles, a sack, and an interception return for a touchdown. You were a machine out there. How did you do it today?
Like Tom said, last few weeks practice has been great, so I think another week of coaches just putting us in great position, and it was just easy to read the reads that the coaches gave us.
All right, Kramer, can you take us through the process of when you made that interception?
I was out route by the receiver. Quarterback kind of threw it on the back shoulder. I was able to jump it. Then there was nobody in front of me able to take us to timeouts.
Oh, that was a great play. Guys, thank you for joining me today. I'm here with sophomore safety Jason Kramer and cornerback junior Tom Bodner. WLC gets the victory for homecoming weekend against Rockford College, 19-0. Hello, everyone. I'm here with defensive backs coach Brooke Smith. Coach Smith, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, you guys were able to shut out Rockford today. You held them to 68 total yards of offense. How are you guys able to do that today?
Well, game plan is always for defense is to shut down the run first, and when we were able to do that where they weren't getting off big chunks on us, getting them into third downs and then getting off the field on third down, that was a key component. And they weren't throwing the ball very effectively, and that also helps obviously get off the field on third down when you don't have to worry about two phases of the game.
Coach, you alluded to that passing phase. You guys were able to shut them down, like you said. Can you talk about Tom Bodner's play over the last couple of weeks and Jason Kramer, who got the interception and returned for a touchdown?
The secondary has been really working on two things this year. One of them's been vision, make sure we have our guy, and the other one's been alignment, assignment, in other words, being in a key position for success. And those guys are doing a great job of staying with that game plan. And Tom especially has made some big strides this year, coming off last year and even the year before, where he made some mental mistakes a little bit. But when those guys do their jobs, they're really good at that position, and that's why we have them there.
Coach, thank you for joining me today. Let's head back to the studio. The Warriors look to capture the Luther Cup and beat Concordia, Wisconsin for the first time in their 10-year series against the Falcons.
Next week, we'll be talking to men's soccer as they conclude their season. In upcoming shows, we will talk to Warriors volleyball and both men's and women's basketball teams as their practices have already begun this week as they prepare for their season.
Well, that's about all the time we have for this edition of Warriors Weekly.
We would like to thank all of our guests for joining us. Continue to look to Warriors Weekly for the latest information on WLC athletics.
We will see you here next time on Warriors Weekly.